And welcome to Okaloosa Eye on Crime. You know, before we get to our list of usual suspects like we typically do, we've got something a little bit different today. We want to start off the show with Deputy Tony Kelly from the Sheriff's Office. He's one of our canine officers, and he brought, of course, his partner along with him. And Drako is just a year and a half old, you said, and he's always in training mode, always ready to go.
Always in training.
So we want to tell folks a little bit about canine officers, what they do, what the job entails, what some of the challenges are, and then some of the rewards.
Okay.
Now, how long have you been with the canine unit at the Sheriff's Office?
Since December.
Since December. And is that when you got Drako?
It is.
That is when Drako, so fairly new. And what is the toughest part of the training?
I don't know, it's hard to say the toughest part. It's all tough. It's all a challenge. But I would have to say it was one of the most difficult things that I've taken on here in the career of my Sheriff's Office. It's been 4.5 months of intense training for both me and him, day in and day out. We just got released to the road Sunday night, and the training continues on the road.
Well, Deputy Kelly, what made you want to be a canine officer? What was it about that it appealed to you in your career?
Always loved dogs. I've always had dogs growing up, and once I came on the Sheriff's Office and saw the job that they had here, I knew that I wanted it. When I hired on, I was in my oral board, and they asked me where I wanted to be in 5 years, and I said canine. That was December of 2005, December of 2010, I made canine.
No, you're right on your goal.
Pretty good, yeah.
Well, now tell people, I mean, most folks know it's a police dog, but they may not know, if you break down the categories, exactly what they're trained to do. What's the job description for the dog itself?
We have several different ones. Drako here is trained in what they call a patrol dog, which is apprehension, tracking, narcotics, building searches, a little bit of everything. We have other dogs that just do narcotics, another dog that just does explosives.
So you would think like a typical assignment for you guys maybe in one night would be what?
Most of what we do is going to be traffic stops. Other deputies stop a car, they think there may be narcotics or illegal substance in the car, they'll call us, we'll do a walk around to see if the dog alerts on the car. Any open doors, alarms, typical high priority calls we're going to go to and see if we can clear the building.
And I know now this is not in the near future by any means, but what would happen? What happens when these dogs retire, when they're done serving?
Most of the time they go home with the deputies. They become our friends, and we develop an unbelievable bond with each other, and it would be hard to put him with anybody else.
Now, what kind of work schedule do you have? Is it your typical shift as far as the hours that you work? Because you spend a tremendous amount of time with these animals.
My typical night starts at 8 o'clock at night and ends at 4 o'clock in the morning.
So you guys are on the go constantly, and this is, you know, people have talked about over and over that special bond that you develop with a canine. You're fairly new to it, getting entrenched, but I can already tell that bond's there.
And that started from the get-go. My first 2 weeks with him, we did nothing but play, roll around, get to know each other, overcome those little apprehensions that we had of each other. He's been a great dog since the beginning, and just ride around everywhere. I took him everywhere I go. I would take him with me.
And what makes for a great canine officer?
You got to have a drive, but the best thing about this job is it's one of the most rewarding jobs in the agency because you get to see firsthand what your dog is doing. It's very rewarding.
And do you think the average person in the public really appreciates the amount of training? They probably are not really aware of how much extensive training these animals have to go through, and then how significant a role that they play in an agency.
Correct. Yeah, it's a minimum of 480 hours just to get these dogs certified.
Wow.
Of training before we can go. And we just had the trial, so that's when we all got certified, was back in February.
But once you're certified, that doesn't mean you're done.
No.
You have to recertify
every year.
So how much time do you spend actually you're out there working, and then on top of that have to go out and keep that training standard up?
We spend a little bit of time every night that we're on shift training. What we usually do is there's enough of the canine handlers on each night that we'll get together, we'll lay each other tracks, we'll go hide in the building. If we can find an open door in the building, one of us will go hide, let the dog come in and try to find us. So it's non-stop training.
And I know Sheriff Ashley has added some canine officers to the unit. From a supply and demand standpoint, are we in pretty good shape with the number of dogs that are out there, or do you find that, you know, a lot of people want to have a canine?
A lot of people want to have a canine.
So the demand's always there.
A lot of people see how rewarding it is, and I definitely see if we could get more dogs, we could have more great handlers.
Fantastic. Anything else we didn't ask you about being a canine officer, or having Drako in particular, that you wanted to mention?
I don't think
And
so.
he loves his bone.
Yeah.
He does love his
We
bone.
appreciate him being so patient over there. He's been pretty well behaved over there.
Which is a good thing. I'm glad he loves his bone.
And what would his typical career length be? He's only a year and a half old, so how long would...
Hoping to get 5 to 6 out of him. That's usually from somewhere 5 to 8 years is typically what
Kind
you'll
of
get
an
out of a
average.
patrol dog.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you bringing
Yes,
him on here.
thank
I think
you. Thank you
it
for
helps
having us.
people understand. Most people love to see the canine officers come out. And these dogs, one last thing I want to mention though, they usually are approachable. A lot of
Yes.
people, you want them to ask before they
Yes.
approach a
Always
canine?
ask before you approach one of our canines. Sometimes they're just like humans. They have bad days. They may not feel
Right.
good. They may not want to be approached. But,
But
for the most part, they are
for the
all
most
social
part,
dogs.
You can take them in the schools. You see them in the
Yes.
schools and those sort of
Yeah.
things. Okay.
And they like that too. So
Well, fantastic. Good luck to both of you guys out there.
Thank
Just
you.
stay safe. We appreciate you coming on and
Thank you
sharing
so
it with
much.
us.
thank you, Tony.
And next, we're going to go to some of our cases and let you know about some of the more high-profile ones that are out there that we need your help in trying to solve.